In this holiday tutorial, we will teach you how to make these fun and festive crepe paper pine trees. Supplies. You will need 2 contrasting shades of Florist crepe paper, brown Florist crepe paper, moss, 18 gauge wire, and round wooden bases that are 1.5 inches in diameter. In addition, you will also need scissors, tacky glue, an awl or needle, a roller, wire cutters, and pliers. A list of these supplies can also be found in the description box below. Step 1. Prepare strips. In this step, you will need your 2 contrasting shades of crepe paper. We are using Snap Pea 160 gram Florist crepe for our light shade and Kale 160 gram Florist for our dark shade. Taking 1 shade of Florist crepe paper, cut a section from your roll that is 8 inches in width. Using the sheet as your guide, cut an identical sheet from your contrasting color of crepe paper. Keeping the sheets stacked on top of each other, begin cutting the strips for your pine needles. Cut 2 strips that are 2 inches by 8 inches wide, 2 strips that are 1 3/4 by 8 inches wide, and 2 strips that are 1 1/4 by 8 inches wide. This process will yield 6 strips from each color, 12 strips altogether. Step 2. Double-sided strips. Take 2 strips that contrast in color and correspond in size. Stretch them gently to smooth out the crepe texture, then apply an even layer of glue along one strip. Take the corresponding strip and adhere the strips together. Use a roller to flatten the strips down. Repeat this process with the rest of your strips until you end up with 6 double-sided strips. Set the strips aside to dry and continue on to the next step. Step 3. Tree trunk. Taking your 18 gauge wire, cut 4 6.5-inch pieces and set them aside. Next, use your brown Florist crepe and cut 6 strips that are 1/4 inch in height and about 4 inches wide, with the grain running vertically across the strip. Bundle your 4 cut pieces of 18 gauge wire together and apply glue to one end of your bundle. Dot glue along 1 brown strip of crepe paper as well. Then, starting from the glued end of your wire bundle, tightly wrap the brown crepe strip down the length of your bundle to bind them together. Stop about 3/4 of the way down, leaving about 1 inch of the wires exposed. Thicken your tree trunk by repeating this process until you have used up all 4 pieces of your brown crepe strips. Step 4. Pine needle fringes. Now that your double-sided strips have dried, take each strip and clean up the edges by trimming any excess. Take 1 strip and cut thin fringes along one side. Be sure to only cut about 3/4 of the way down to avoid cutting through your whole strip. Repeat this process for all 6 strips. Once you have finished cutting your fringes, take each strip and twist the fringes into pine needles. Step 5. Wrapping fringe. Sort your fringed strips by size. You should have 2 short, 2 medium, and 2 tall strips. Start with your shorter fringe strips for the top of your tree. With the lighter shade facing up on your short strip, dot glue along the uncut edge. Take this strip and adhere it to the covered end of your trunk, opposite the side of the exposed wires. Make sure you are adhering the strips with the fringes facing upward so that they extend past the tip of your treetop. Wrap your pine needle strip slowly, rolling it around your tree trunk and taking care not to stretch the pine strip. Continue to wrap down carefully, keeping your fringes close together while adding dots of glue along the way. Use the remaining strips in order of size, smallest to largest, until you have about 2 inches of your tree trunk left uncovered. Step 6. Trunk bark. Using the exposed trunk base as your size guide, cut a strip of brown crepe that is tall enough to cover your trunk with the grain running vertically while keeping the very bottom of the exposed wires uncovered. Firmly press the paper onto the trunk to secure it in place. Step 7. Forming your tree. Hold your tree upright and starting at the base, pull your fringes outward using a needle or awl. Brush the pine needles down with your hand to fluff your fringes. Take scissors and trim the fringes to shape the tree to your liking. Step 8. Tree base. In this final step, you will need your moss and round wooden base. Cut a round piece of moss that is slightly larger than the round wooden base. Now take your moss round and cut a small slit in the center. Pierce the exposed wires of your tree trunk through the slit with the moss facing up. Using a pair of pliers, fold the wires down against the bottom of your moss round. Apply glue to the bottom of your moss round and adhere it to your wood base. Enjoy making these crepe paper trees with your friends and family. Get creative and scale up or down to create different sizes. You can also add more variation by making a metallic tree using our double-sided crepe paper rolls. For more tutorials, be sure to subscribe to our channel and visit us at castleintheair.biz.